The all-new Kia Ceed, the third generation of this compact vehicle, today in our static review on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the new exterior, the interior. There will be a lot of surprises, I can promise you so far, talking about engines and also the new assistance systems, what's to come with this vehicle and what's maybe the pricing and all of the other variants. Really interesting facts to come, I can promise you, and everything of that in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! The new generation of the Kia Ceed is a little wider and a little flatter. Overall, it has a sportier look than before, also due to the new wider front grille called Tiger Nose. And here in the top trim EX, this is not the GT trim, which will also again come later, but EX is already a normal top trim. You also have this comp structure in glossy black, making it even more sporty. So far also the headlights were drawn more around here. Now they are more horizontal, pretty interesting. And also they start with halogen, but optional you can also get a full LED headlamp unit. However, the LED daytime running lights, those ones are always standard equipment from every base model. Also here in this trim you get a contrasting lower bumper, especially nice if you have this as a sporty contrast to this blue flame color, which comes close to a color we call here Thomas Blue at Autogefühl. And you know this ice cube design of the LED daytime running lights, you know them maybe from the GT of the previous generation, which were placed a little bit more below. This one then comes as standard now, so it seems like the so far GT model will be a little bit the base model of the third generation. So let me show you the LED daytime running light. So this is this ice cube design, 4 single ice cubes, and even more interesting, look at the turning indicator now with a 2-line signature that can be recognized indirectly as the new Ceed. 4 meters 31 or 14 foot 1 is the total length. That is exactly the same as in the previous generation. Also the wheelbase, 2 meters 65. But what have they changed? Actually, they have reduced the front overhang. It also makes it look a little bit sportier. And they have increased the rear overhang. So this one will make the trunk a little bit bigger. We'll soon take a look at that, of course. Then rims, they start at 15-inch steel, then 16-inch aluminum. And those ones here at the top, 2-color spec 17-inch aluminum rims, and of course they look pretty sporty for this vehicle. You see at the side profile they use one main design line above the door handles, dividing in light and shadow, then a rather round structure below that. Also rather round side mirror caps right there. Here in this trim level we also have chrome lines around the windows, and they have actually redesigned this whole shape, so it looks a little bit coupe-like here, stressing this sporty styling, and also with a little bigger shoulders in the rear part. So what do you think? How do you like the new design? To me, the rear has been modernized the most. You know, remember the previous generation where the tail lamps were a little bit like this, in a not really stringent form. Here now, horizontal lines right there and there. And then we have those new taillights with LED technology as standard as well, and also with a very interesting, remarkable signature. And actually Kia said that they took the feedback from the northern European markets because they want to have something which is really, distinguishable and also seen in, for example, foggy or snowy conditions, even with the daytime running lights, as it's also mandatory to drive with them, especially in the Scandinavian countries. So pretty interesting with the rear perspective. And what's also interesting, what you cannot see from the rear, the chassis below it. It's a new so-called K2 platform, and they've made it stiffer than before, promising, for example, sportier driving, which we will of course do at a later stage. Now talking about the engines, and well, we have opened the hood, and what is interesting, that they paint also the lower part again. Even, you know, we've seen with the Volkswagen Golf, sometimes they didn't. You do find some red paint there, but that's just for the pre-production model we have here today. In your usual car you will buy, that one will also be then, you know, at least not in this red color you can see here. Also, we have a battery charger package right here, which is for the static vehicle, that we don't lose power on the interior. But everything else then will, for example, look like this with the 1.4 liter turbo GDI. This is a turbo petrol engine, the current most horsepower spec one, 140 horsepower. Then there later on also will 1.6 liter turbo for the GT model. Or if we go down the horsepower spec, is a 1 liter turbo with 120 horsepower, and the known 1.4 MPI, the naturally aspirated one, with 100 horsepower. Finally, 1.6 liter diesel with 115 or 136 horsepower, and the 1.6 diesel, and this one here, the 1.4 turbo petrol. Those two are new. And shifting either 6-speed manual, or for this one here, the top spec petrol engine so far, and the new diesel also will be available with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which we will soon see on the interior as well. And of course, all front wheel drive. And not to forget, one of the most important aspects, what about the fume clearing? So what about the emissions? Well, all of the engines, so the diesel come with the SCR cleaning, and even the petrol engines come with particle filters now. So some manufacturers are still waiting, saying, yeah, we only do it when it's really mandatory by law. Kia now comes a little bit ahead, already introduces them, and I think that's definitely a very good decision for, you know, cleaning up the air in the cities. And soon we'll also ask the product manager, what about different or alternative drivetrains? Now let's get inside. You can see here for the keyless entry button, door closing sound. That sounds pretty solid. Then inside of the doors, the soft part is the top part is a little soft touch, and we also find good build quality right here. Even memory seats are available. All 4 of the windows are automatic levers. That means when you press them, like to the bottom, it also automatically goes down all the way and automatically goes up all the way. We can also find a good spot for bigger bottles right there. Optional JBL sound system. And then the first look inside, what you can see, well, is a new steering wheel. And it looks more modern, sportier, also with the aluminum inlet at the lower part. Roundly inspired a little bit by the Stinger. We have a lot of elements here, which is, you know, inspired by the Kia Stinger, the all-new sports car. However, if you look at the Kia Forte, by the way, this is a sedan version for the US of the Ceed. You can see more round vents, also inspired by the Stinger. This is not the case here. So this is here rather aluminum contrast in this squircle style, I would call them that way. Assistance systems, for example, here to deactivate, because this one will have a lot of assistance systems, autonomous emergency brakes, stand equipment, lane keeping assist, stand equipment. That's pretty nice. And then some more assistance systems optional. Seats. It starts with fabric seats in the base model. That's good. Then there's a different fabric seat available in the mid trim. Then even higher, there is a fabric on the inside and leatherette on the outside seat available, which I would recommend. And those ones are the full animal skin spec, as this car is basically fully spec'd, but Kia definitely offers a lot of alternatives that you can also go without them. Let's go inside. Well, the car is a little bit flatter, but still have more shoulder and headroom than in the previous generation. We are also equipped with the panoramic roof here. That still leaves some headroom left. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1" if you haven't subscribed so far. If you want more headroom, you would leave out the panoramic roof. Those seats here are with electric controls. The base one will start with manual controls here for the back part of the seats. Well, the first impression is actually quite comfortable. As you have gained some room, it feels a little bit like a mid-size car already. So you're not crammed in than in some other compact vehicles. A little bit like a feeling like in a Honda Civic, which also felt a little bit more upscale for the size on the interior. I really like the new steering wheel because you have those updated buttons. Also here, for example, for the sound on the left side. On the right side, you will have the ACC control, for example. Adaptive cruise control will be available, and even something like a highway pilot up to 130 kilometers an hour, where it keeps the lane and is working at the ACC at the same time. So level 2 autonomous driving, the first time for a Kia. So let's check it out here. You can adjust the steering wheel very well, also in all the reach and also up and down. The lever here, well, that's maybe like one small weakness when you put it up again, but I mean, you can surely live with that easily. The general impression is really that everything is stepped up in the build quality for sure. So I'm actually quite impressed by the first things I see here. They've really worked on the car, especially also on the interior. The previous model looks pretty outdated considering to that. And to me, the most important thing is probably, well, they will go up in the price probably just a little bit. We'll soon talk to the product manager about that. But the price performance seems to be very good. Interior overview. The plastic is used. That is a soft touch. Over here, also the same part. This is basically a contrast stitch, and it looks like a leatherette dashboard a little bit, but it's actually not. But I think it's okay to style it in that way. Why not? It looks quite good. Then this contrast in a brighter style right there. Overall, we have a, let's say, roomier design. You can see a difference to the Kia Forte. Check out that video where the Forte had this screen more a little bit popped up. Maybe it looked a little bit more modern than in the Ceed sibling here. The screen, 5-inch it starts like this, 7-inch then a little bit bigger. That is also then available with the smartphone connection when you want to use your own GPS. And this one then the top 8-inch screen, top trim then with an own GPS from the vehicle. The climate unit is separated, soon more deals to that. And from here you can also take another look at this new steering wheel. Also pretty slim to have a good sporty grip right here. I like that. Reminds me a little bit of Audi steering wheels where you can have a very, very good grip here with the thumbs as well. So digital gauges, round sporty structure with, goes quite deep in there. Analog right and left. In the middle one, the digital, for example, for lane keeping assist when you have that one activated. But you can also have GPS information there, or the digital speedometer. Here the GPS, at the moment the compass is being displayed. This is rather, a classical area of this vehicle. So the top trim 8-inch screen, here now in detail. What is not possible directly that you can zoom and pinch in the map. I would prefer that. They've decided otherwise for the moment. But let me show you also, it's a pretty clear display. This is the main menu then. I can access the menus right here and use it like this. You have the smartphone connection either with normal Bluetooth, or you can already see highlighted here Apple CarPlay, Android Auto if you want to plug in your phone. Really interesting also the new AC unit. You can see the digital temperature right here, and also how you turn the knobs. That is actually quite nice, how it feels, the feedback you get. So also very well executed here. The rest of the buttons are easy to press, and they're also pretty wide that you can't miss them. So still a separate climate unit. A lot of people will appreciate that. And in the lower area you can see the luxury features. So you can get a heated steering wheel. I would love that. And I'm not sure if there's any other car in this segment which has the ventilated seats. However, this is special then for the animal skin seats. If you go for the fabric seats, probably you won't need it, and also can save the money for that and just, for example, get a seat heating. And in the lower middle console, here the QI symbol, you can put your phone right here for wireless charging, optionally. And in the lower part right there, you have a USB port to connect your smartphone, and right next to it, this one is only for charging I think it's quite good to separate it, because sometimes, you know, when we want to use Bluetooth, you want to use that one to charge. When you use CarPlay, then you just use this one, or when you're with two people, you can separate it. And also 12-volt power charger too. By the way, here for the lower middle console, this is the glossy black option. To me, I don't like it that much anymore. I would rather prefer matte options, but there's also a black matte option available, and also a brighter choice. So you also have a choice there what to pick as a decor element right here. Then there's the automatic shifting lever for the dual clutch transmission, which is option available here for the 1.4 turbo. And for the sportiness, for tuning the throttle input and the stiffness of the steering wheel, you can put in the sport mode then while driving. Again, steering wheel a little bit more resistance, and more turning up the gears is possible. Parking aid is, for example, here, and when you want to deactivate the park beeper. Then further on here, electric handbrake. The key can be placed here, for example, and that's how it looks. Also with a new design, it's pretty slim and very modern now. And in this one here, also how the process is being here, you know, again, better build quality than before, how it feels, what the haptic feedback you get with adaptive cup holders. You know, an Audi has here, you know, 4 of those adaptive pads. They say 4-1, but I think it will surely do the same job if they are just on 2 sides. It's fine to me. And then the middle armrest. This one is, you can shake it around a little bit. Let's put it up, and well, there's actually a lot of room inside there. The optional panoramic roof you can pick is like this. You have a shade for very sunny days, and then you can also open it. Let's see how that goes. And like, it also looks pretty wide in the dimension, and that's the maximum opening then. So either a lot of light in the interior or some fresh air. Again, if you want more headroom, then you would leave it out, or if you want to save some money. Let's assess the rear compartment. The doors open quite wide. So, and I left this driver's seat as I would be driving, as a rather tall person, and you can see it gets a little close with the knees. I do hit the back here, so it's not best in segment in this case. Headroom-wise, that's perfectly fine, because even if you have the panoramic roof, it raises to the rear, so I can still sit here and put a hand over my head. So that's actually quite okay. We've seen it also with some other Kia cars, that they do not pay so much focus to space in the rear for the rear passengers. I mean, if you have kids, it won't be a problem at all, but traveling with 4 adults, basically it's okay when I, you know, put my knees right next to the seat. It's also not too uncomfortable to sit here. You lean a little bit backwards, but I would not recommend it as the primary adult rear passenger car. That's like it. The hard plastic is, by the way, at the inside of the doors in the rear, so it's not over all the 4 doors. Then the middle armrest with some cup holders. And interesting also that we have this space-saving middle belt for the middle seat, and you put one in the box rear and the second one in the normal. Well, in the middle part you can sit relatively well, because it's a front-wheel driven car. There's no rear middle tunnel. That's pretty much okay. However, it always gets close with the knees then, so that's really then a little bit cramped. Seat flipping is at 1/3, 2/3 split. You can already do it from here. There's a top tether behind too, and Isofix on the outer seats for children. Did you know, by the way, that CEED stands for Community Europe, or European and European Development? So two times European in it, and community and development, because I want to stress that this car is basically a European car. Has been developed here in Frankfurt from, you know, development and design, and produced in Slovakia. So indeed, we're not talking about a South Korean car. This Kia is a European car. And what else? Well, before it was basically split here with, you know, apostrophe, but now it's just gone, you know, and they have the simple CEED name. I really like that decision to make things easier, because who wrote that actually, you know, with the with the sign in there. Then the new trunk, 395 liters, step up the game, and wow, it looks really big for a compact vehicle. Also good in dimensions here. More speakers from the JBL sound system, which is actually quite good. I just tested it, and if you like music, I think it's a worthwhile option. On the left side, you can put something secure it here. It's also an interesting feature we have there. 12-volt power supply in the rear. Then some fixations for tension belts, for example. Below here we have a tire replacement kit, not filled at the moment here, but you can put some small things in there. And well, you have to read over here, it's pretty slim. If you remove the top cover, then you could basically flip the seats. Other than that, it's easier to go around and do it like this. As I showed you earlier, 1/3, 2/3 split. And let's put in the second one like this. So I think this is also one of the major differences, that you can load things easier in this new generation, and you have really more room in the trunk. And now we are joined by Alpa Selik. He's the product manager for the new Kia Ceed. First of all, for everyone watching, in which markets can you buy the Ceed?
First of all, very welcome to our facility here in Frankfurt. This is our third generation. Our main markets will be Germany, UK, and France, Spain, the Western European markets.
Can you get it anywhere else, or is the rest of the world then for the reserved for the Forte?
The Ceed is our most self-reliant, most European car in our lineup, meaning that this car is being developed, designed, produced, and exclusively sold in Europe. However, we are also going to sell this car in Russia and in Turkey as well.
Talking about the pricing, so far a Ceed starts at about 15,000 euros in Germany, and the GT, so higher spec, then is about 25. What will happen with the new model? Can you already tell us something about?
I can give some direction. So there will be a lot of standard specs that we are going to bring in the third generation. So to name few of them, we will have the autonomous emergency brake, the city function. We will have the lane keep assist. We will have the high beam assist. We will have the driver attention alert. So we are leveling up, speccing up the car quite a lot. This will definitely bring some pricing up in our lineup as well. What I can confirm is that the positioning of the car with respect to the competition will be exactly as it is today.
So probably it will be a little bit less expensive than, for example, Volkswagen Golf competitors and comparable cars.
So we will maintain the same positioning to Golf. So we will not get closer or further from the Golf, but we will be exactly at where we are standing with respect to Golf today.
Okay, he is not allowed to say that, but I can tell you, yes, it will be less expensive than a Golf. So, what is maybe your very favorite spec about this vehicle when you would have to pick one element?
Right. Well, if this one is indeed a challenging thing to say, but like I said, there will be a lot of new specs, a lot of innovation that we are bringing. For me, the most prominent one is the first Kia that we are going to bring the level 2 autonomous driving. We call it in our lineup is the lane follow assist. So the car can steer itself with your hands on, can keep itself in the center of the lane and can stop and then restart to go.
Talking about the future, we today here see the normal 5-door variant. Right. So far there was a 3-door variant, there was a GT car, right. There was the SV, so the Estate. Will it be the same again as in the previous generation?
Right. So to start with, the 3-door derivative that we see in the segment is declining. It's not only for us, but it's also overall in the competition. So we will discontinue the 3-door. And what I can also explain is that there will be a new body type to show up in the next motor show in Geneva. And further on, we are going to reveal also our new studies on the upcoming body types as well.
So I take from that 3-door no, Estate probably yes, and GT of course. That would I. So if you don't say no. Okay, and maybe some other future stuff, plug-in hybrid, CNG, alternative drivetrains. What are you thinking about that?
Well, to start with, the car will come with the conventional powertrain. But of course, I think you would agree with me that it's inevitable not to have any eco powertrain in the lineup in the upcoming years. Therefore, we are working on that. And in the life cycle of the car, we are hoping to bring the eco powertrain in the Ceed lineup as well.
Thank you so much for the insight.
You're very welcome.
And now to our conclusion for today, the all-new Kia Ceed. First of all, the look really sportier than before. So it really seems to be that already from the normal models, they look a little bit like the GT models from the previous generation. Although, well, there is a higher spec here already today, but already the base models will look definitely sportier than the outgoing ones. One of the reasons is that also the Kia Stinger was developed here, and they could take some from the studio and some design elements from the Stinger. Same counts for the Kia Forte, which we've shown you on the Detroit Motor Show. This is basically in the US market sibling with the normal sedan ending. Also check out that video with AJ later on after finishing this one here. Dimensions rather been keeping the same, little bit difference in the overhang. One of the results is that we have more space in the trunk. That's really remarkable, definitely. Also in the front, definitely feels a little bit more already towards a segment above. So I think the seating comfort from the seat form and the room you have in the front is really very nice. I was surprised at that. And the only thing in the rear passenger compartment, that is maybe the only thing we could criticize about this car. They haven't used it that well. Then again, you have more trunk in the rear and more room in the front. So the question is, what is the most important to you? Infotainment-wise, we also have received some upgrades now, 3 different sizes you can choose from. And so many things already included from the standard equipment, and a lot of partially even luxury features you can already get here in the compact segment. They have also stepped up the build quality in the interior. We see a lot of elements where we can really say, wow, this is at a very high level now. And altogether, well, I think the most important factor about this vehicle will be also the price performance. Because maybe in some points you can find some things where the competitors are maybe a little bit better here and there. Then the Ceed has some points where this one here is better. But if you then take the price into account, and that this vehicle as it stands here today, you know, I've been told that this one here can be get even in the highest trim below 25,000 euros. And if you think about, for example, Volkswagen Golf, where it stands here right now with this trim and stuff, would be close maybe to 35, maybe even to 40,000. So especially in the high trims, you will save several thousand euros if you compare it to similar spec competitors. I think that's probably the unique selling point of this vehicle. Thank you so much for tuning in. I would like to hear your feedback now. Use the comment sections. Let's discuss this new compact segment car and also the competitors. What do you think about the new Kia Ceed? And also join us next time and also when we drive this very vehicle.